Oh boy. Okay. Chapter 13 of the House of Mirth, which there's the striking image of Lily as Reynolds Miss Lloyd in the last chapter. I believe that was in the last. Yeah, it was in the last chapter. Now in chapter 13, we have she thinks she's going to see she is going to go and see Judy Trenner, but at their house there, she's coming into town for a flying thing. Except it turns out it's Gus Trenner, and they're in that. It turns out they're in the house alone, and he traps her in there, demanding that he wants payment in kind for his money. He's like, "I bought you, basically. I want something. I want," and It's a really near thing to him, basically probably raping her in this scene, or it's like it's very close, very close to that. She is in complete terror. She is completely vulnerable. Uh, this is, and she finally kind of goes like, "I am here alone with you," she said. "What more have you to say?" And it seems to find like he's been in this fugue, basically, not fugue. He's been raging that he hasn't gotten his money's worth, basically, from her, and it actually kind of is a slap of cold water. It's probably the least realistic thing in the thing of it. He actually pulls back from the brink. I mean, and maybe that's the thing, is some guys will pull back from the brink, and others most definitely wouldn't. I'd say this isn't a practice of his to do this. Maybe that's what, in the end, saves Lily. And he ends up saying, "Yeah, go home, go home." And she does not immediately flee because she knows that if she doesn't enter X at the house the proper way, with him escorting her out, her exchanging pleasantries underneath her complete and utter loathing for him, him calling her a handsome cab, it will be, it will result in scandal. And even now, still, it's kind of scandal. And I mean, he's revealed in the thing that Rosedale's told him about her visiting Lawrence Selden's things at the very lodgings at the very beginning of this novel. So she knows she's being talked about that kind of way amongst the men. So that's kind of a thing. But when she gets into that cab, it's like the darkness closes in on her, and there is she seemed a stranger to herself, or rather, there were two selves in her: the one she had always known, and a new abhorrent being to the one being to which she found itself chained. And it's like this, it's a creature of fear. Like she's suddenly like, she's vain, she's arrogant and stuff like this, but suddenly this assault, this cornering, this near miss with rape, uh, has awoken this fearful being inside of her, and she now is like, "Oh God, this thing is chained to me." And he says here, this is something I'm gonna have to look up. She had once picked up in a house where she was staying a translation of Eumenides, and her imagination had been seized by the high terror of the scene where Orestes, in the cave of the oracle, finds his implacable huntress asleep, and snatches an hour's repose. Yes, the Furies might sometimes sleep, but they were there, always there in the dark corners, and now they were awake, and the iron clang of their wings was in her brain. It's like the Furies are awake in her brain. The iron clangs. It's like these solid, immovable, primal, psychological kind of things inside of her. Uh, and it's like, and she's looking out on the streets as she's going by in the Hampson. All that she looked out on was the same and yet changed. There was a great gulf fixed between today and yesterday. Everything in the past seemed simple, natural, full of daylight, and she was alone in a place of darkness and pollution. Alone. It was a loneliness that frightened her. Her eyes fell on an illuminated clock at the street, and she saw that the hands marked 11:30. It's like, oh my God, I've got the entire night to get through. Um, and she's gonna be like, her soft nature. Yeah, it's like, Oh, the slow, cold drip of the minutes on her head. She had a vision of herself lying on the black walnut bed, and the darkness would frighten her. And as she left the light burning, the dreary details of the room would brand themselves forever on her brain. She had always hated her room at Miss Penson's, its ugliness, its impersonality, the fact that nothing was really hers. To a torn heart, uncomforted by human nearness, a room may open almost human arms, and the being to whom no four walls mean more than any others is at such hours expatriate everywhere. So she doesn't have a person or a home, and they kind of goes through like, Penson. It's like we have the nearness of lodgers, and even if we did closer, she would judge me. At which point she thinks, as she's going by the streets, Gertie. They were nearing Gertie's corner, and she calls out to the driver and has her drop her at Gertie's, because this is the place where she knows there is a person who is has complete unconditional love that she is going to go try and find. And that's how this chapter ends. But it's like that aloneness, that fear, the awakened furies, clanging wings inside of her brain. Oh, the furies are always there. That's just wonderful, wonderful stuff. Wonderfully psychologically, just what state Lily is in here. And like, as much as we've seen so much stuff of Lily, of just kind of look down on her, to kind of scorn her as this arrogant, manipulative, possession hungry woman. This is the thing. This is the chapter where you go, oh, I care for her. She has to be okay. You feel her as a human being in this chapter, and it's just amazing. So yes, that is the House of Mrth, chapter 13. Oof, that's the best chapter yet. All right, more videos later.